Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, I'm back. It's been a long time. I took a little bit of a sabbatical through a multitude of reasons, mainly an ongoing philosophical dispute with the YouTube higher-ups who disagreed with some things that I had to say. Also, the fact that I needed a nice physical, mental, and spiritual break from the world. And overall, just, the desire to stop paying attention to the insanity that the world was producing. But all that said, the events of a couple of days ago have convinced me, nay, inspired me, almost demanded me to jump back on this metaphysical soapbox and give it another whirl. So here I am, coming back at you all the way from the Netherlands. So let's talk about America.
Let us be aware that while they preach the supremacy of the state, declare its omnipotence over individual man, and predict its eventual domination of all peoples on the earth, they are the focus of evil in the modern world.
We're all living in America, America.
We will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest.
America will find you, and we will bring you to justice.
We came, we saw, we died.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
So, what is it? Who done it? This is a real mystery. This is an old-timey detective story, huh? We got to figure out who done it. Was it the Men in Black? Was it those dirty Antifas? Was it a disgruntled Republican supporter who didn't like the way that Trump was handling things? We may never know. And if the CIA, the FBI, DHS, if all those three-letter alphabet soup fellas, if they have their way with it, we will likely never know. But that's the fun, okay? That's what's fun about this whole thing, is that everybody gets a voice. Everybody gets to throw their nonsense out there. Everybody gets to make up in their head what they want to happen, what they want it to happen. It's going to be great. It's going to be a wonderful rest of the summer into the election season. Luckily, this happens every few years. My birthday this year falls on election day, so this is going to be a great party. I plan to live it up. I'm going to stay up all night, watch the election results run in. This is a once in a lifetime event, and I don't think people properly realize this. It's not every generation. Maybe every generation gets a presidential assassination attempt, but it is a once in a lifetime event. Our generation, this is it. Our parents' generation had Reagan. Grandparents, they had JFK and Bobby. Then way back when you had the Teddy Roosevelt and all the other fellows. You had Abraham Lincoln for people in Joe Biden's generation. But this is something that, it comes around every now and then, and it's a sign of the times, as a matter of fact. This is a lot more common around the world than it should be, so Americans might not be used to it. But many places around the world, political assassinations are somewhat of the norm, somewhat of an expectation. I do believe that just recently, with Mexico's presidential election a month or two ago, they were saying, there was something like 35 political candidates from local elections all the way up to national elections that were assassinated during this cycle. Now, it's Mexico. What happens in Mexico stays in Mexico, but point is, it's not out of the norm worldwide. But when it happens on American soil, my God, will the crazy shit start flying. And what's absolutely amazing by this is the switch, the flip-flop immediately that the media and these online people have realized that conspiracy theorists, it's not just one team. You know, everybody's got a little whodunit in their blood. Everybody's got a little, I don't believe so-and-so in them. When I was growing up, when I was a youth, a teenager in high school, you know, I was very politically minded. I was somewhat of a politi-nerd. I cared more about, you know, the Iraq and Afghanistan war than I did what was going on, you know, on TV shows, MTV. I didn't care about all that. I was watching CNN and CNBC and watching the congressional committees. It was kind of sad, really. It was a lonely time. But point is, when I was young, a conspiracy-minded person was, odds are they were going to be a bit left-leaning. They were going to be a bit of a free radical. They were probably anti-Bush, anti-Cheney. They hated the neocons. They hated the war. They were very 9/11 truth type people. Alex Jones, for instance, when I was growing up, Alex Jones, he was somewhat of a fringe, I'll say, a fringe hero on the left. You know, he was the one fighting the good fight against the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan. So during Obama's term, whenever somehow conspiracy theorists suddenly all became right-wing Republicans, which I never got the memo on that. I love to question everything, but all of a sudden, you know, people were telling me that I was somehow a far-right Republican when I didn't think I was. But now, it's in a night, overnight, you know, I went to sleep on Saturday night and I woke up Sunday morning, and now all of a sudden it's the left's turn again. You know, this is an inside job. This is Trump's way of becoming a martyr. So they say this was all his seemingly 5D chess that we've heard so much about for the past few years. You know, which is kind of funny because for the past few years, you know, everybody on the left side of things, they've been saying how Trump's too stupid to think ahead, how he can't play no 5D chess, how he's an imbecile, and, you know, he can't even cover his tracks trying to pay off porn stars. But now all of a sudden, you know, he's Mossad, CIA, and KGB all tied up into one and can execute the world's greatest political takeover by faking his own assassination attempt. I don't know. If that's the story, hey, it'll make a good movie one day, so I'm here for it. But on the other hand, you know, I'm seeing some very vocal Republican conspiracy theories coming out about the same thing. You know, some of them are saying that this was a hit job by the White House and Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. You know, they're coming for Trump. They don't want him to run because they're scared of him. I'm seeing some people say that this is a Trump inside job and that he's working with the White House. So this is the thing. This is opening up, you know, a whole conversation where everybody gets to make up some story. And that's the beautiful part about it. They're all equally valid. Every single one of them are just going to be as amusing as the next. And nobody's ever going to know the truth. So this can go on until we're old and our kids are arguing over it. You know, the same thing with the JFK. Look, it's been, 60 years? It's been 60 years since JFK was assassinated, and we still argue and don't agree over who did what that day. This is going to go for decades. And the sad part about it is it's not going to heal the nation. You know, this isn't going to somehow bring left-wing voters to start sympathizing with the views of the right. This isn't going to allow the right wing to say, hey, maybe we should tone down a little bit. This isn't going to help anything. If anything, my guess is that if this is more than just a crazy little lone wolf neckbeard dude, if there is actually a group behind this, if it's some sort of backroom dark dealings, that they're going to go after the president next, and then that's really going to cause things to get messy, because if there's some secret group planning on just attacking everybody running for president, who we got left? I have no faith that RFK is not gonna take one too. You know, it runs in his blood. So if they're going after everybody, he's next on the list. You know, maybe Vivek. Maybe he's quick enough and agile enough to dodge one. But who knows? But this is great. This is great. You know, like I said, I took some time off. I was overwhelmed with the chaos and the insanity that was going on in the world. And I felt like that just me screaming out here into the void wasn't really going to accomplish much. But, you know, with this is it. This is a catalyst that I'm gonna jump back in. I might as well. It's election season. You know, there's nothing to lose. It's better than me sitting around, you know, yelling about the election and politics in my living room and my wife sitting there trying to ignore me. But at least this way I can get out my stress about my homeland in a positive and constructive manner. And hopefully I can create some sort of dialogue with people who think like me and people who maybe don't think like me. Now let's get this straight very quickly in case any of my viewers forgot and in case any new viewers want to know. I'm adamant about never voting, never supporting any political candidates, and I will make this perfectly clear right now. You see this shirt? See this shirt? I do not support Donald Trump as president, as a politician. Now, I support Donald Trump 100% as a man and a figure because Donald Trump is absolutely hilarious. He is the epitome of what it is to be America. He is pompous, he is raucous, he does not take no shit, and he won't shut the fuck up about what he thinks. He is the embodiment of the American spirit. Now, again, I do not support him to be a president. I do not think that he should be in a political office. I, of course, do not support Joe Biden or any of the other big Democratic figureheads to be our next president. So I don't vote. I don't believe in voting. I think voting is compliance to a broken system, and the only way to fix a broken system is non-compliance. So a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of family, they seem to think that just because I'm vocal about how much joy I get out of watching Donald Trump on TV and on the internet, that somehow I support him. No, I don't. And listen, don't let that turn you off of here. I'm just keeping it real with you. But like I said, I support him as a person, as a figurehead of. If there was any way that there could be a non-political presidential office, just a American representative to the world, he's got it. Easy peasy. Donald Trump should definitely be the representative of America because he has what it takes. Now, I don't want him controlling any political decisions because I don't think he could do that. That being said, it is going to be a pretty crazy next few months. It's going to get dirtier. I think there's going to be a lot of lies, a lot of ignorance. People are going to blindly just cover their eyes and say, I didn't see this, I didn't hear this, I believe this that I heard, even though I know it's not true. I believe this that somebody told me. It's going to get so wacky. And I said this same thing. I said this in 2016 whenever Trump was running for president the first time against Hillary. And nobody in my personal circle believed me when I told them that Donald Trump would beat her. I mean, nobody. And listen, that I wasn't living in America at the time. I was living in Europe, surrounded by Europeans, and they simply had no clue that Donald Trump would be able to beat Clinton in a political race. They thought it was just so outlandish that it was laughable. And I remember waking up the day after the election, and the polls had closed. Everybody, all the channels were posting their results, and everybody in my personal circle, they were just like, what happened? How could this happen? And I told them the same thing. This is all a theater. The world is a theater, and America is the star of the show. We are what it takes to keep the world pacified, to keep the world laughing, crying, sad, happy, angry, excited, thrilled. That's what America's job is. It's not Hollywood, it's America. It's a combination of 50 beautiful states that do everything they can every day to keep the world laughing and crying. Okay, this is our job. We're supposed to put on this beautiful show. And Washington has it down to a science. You know, they can put on a pageant like none have ever seen. And that's the hard part, you know, about being a Hollywood filmmaker or a politician, is that you got to do better than the last time. You know, you got to keep filling the seats. And if the world it truly is a theater, they've got to make a better show than they did last time. And let's be real. 2020 was not that great of a show. Everybody was a little bored. Everybody was locked inside their house, you know, whether it be for not. So it didn't take much. It didn't take much. You know, we just had to, you know, throw a little party at the Capitol building or whatnot. But you know, it didn't take much to raise the curtains, if you will. But this year, you know, everybody's looking for that, you know, that repeat. They're looking. This is the big show. You know, everybody's looking for a laugh, so they got to go all out. Now, this is not me saying that. Again, I don't know if there was a conspiracy behind this. Surely, probably, but I'm not putting anything out there. I don't know yet. I will develop my thoughts here in the coming weeks, probably. But this is not to say that Trump didn't get hit, or that he faked it, or that, you know, anybody tried, anybody had a hand in this, like the White House. I don't know. That is not for me to decide yet, not for me to know, and I simply don't. What I'm saying, though, is that no matter what happens, this is going to be milked dry by every media outlet, by every Twitter user with more than 100,000 followers. My God, the memes I've already seen. Every Instagram is just it's a treasure trove of me. It's not been 48 hours, and I have seen memes now that I don't know how people come up with this. I don't understand the genius that is in the collective consciousness to come up with some of the amazing and hilarious, funny pictures, essentially, over something that we should not be laughing about. This should not be laughable, okay? You know, when JFK got assassinated, the country mourned. The country shut down. It left, right, middle, between. Everyone was sad. The country mourned. People, offices closed for at a time. People used to say, "Where were you when JFK was shot?" That was a moment when a 4-year-old remembered what they were doing in school, and a 40-year-old remembered them taking out of work that day. That was the 9/11 for the 60s. Okay, when Reagan was shot, people calmed the fuck down for a while. Okay, the 70s were a wild time. People forget this. The 70s was not just disco and cocaine. Okay, the 70s was filled with political assassinations, serial killers, bombings, liberation organizations, hijacking planes, terrorism. The world was an insane place in the 70s, and people forget it because not every day was not filmed on a phone. You know, these are things that slowly history has determined not important enough to remember. But the 70s were a wild time. And after Reagan got shot, America calmed down. And that brought in, you know, the 80s. The 80s were remembered as a quiet and happy time, a time of economic prosperity, of growth. It was remembered as sort of like a like the Wall Street days. Everybody was making money. Everybody was buying houses. The times were moving up. And that was because our president got shot. And it wasn't some big theory like JFK where who done it, It was a crazy guy trying to impress Jodie Foster. So everybody sat back and they were like, hey, maybe we all just need to chill for a while and enjoy what we got. This ain't it. This is not it. I can't believe that I go on, and sadly enough, I do it just out of my own dark, amusement. But I go on these Twitter and I go on Instagram and I see these memes, and my God, I laugh and I cry. I see people wishing he would have got shot. I see people, saying that anybody who wants him to get shot should be shot. It's created more divide. It's gonna create more division, and it's mind blowing as a bit of a self-proclaimed student of history to see the drastic difference between the reaction of America in this instant to the reaction that we were educated about in our youth, that how America should react when a president gets shot. We were taught how they did, how they used to. This is not it. This is not how it was supposed to happen. And, clearly we can argue all day of why the social conscience is the way it is, that we react this way. Sure, throw your hat in the ring. Is it social media? Is it the corrupted youth? Is it whatever it may be? Who knows? But whatever it is, it's here, and we gotta deal with it now. But I don't know. Sometimes I get overwhelmed by certain things. One thing that I think is necessary before the election is that people have got to prioritize their personal relationships again over their metaphysical relationships. And by that I mean that nowadays everyone is more concerned with their metaphysical relationships in regards to what their social profile is, how they're perceived in a community, in a larger community of people that they may necessarily not know personally, or may have never even met, may have never even talked to. But when individuals gather this large social network and they become more concerned with pleasing that social network than they do with pleasing those around them, it creates massive division. And if America can work on one thing until the election, it is heal your community, heal your personal circle, heal your social connections. The old racist aunt and uncle that you don't like talking to, talk to them. Get over it. If you're a young 20-something and you think that boomers are ruining the world and that everybody's a racist and everybody is a bigot, get over it. Get over it, or suck it up. Something. You can't live your whole life like that. It's never going to work for you. Just every time you solve a problem, you're always going to be looking for another issue to be upset about. Again, exactly reverse. If you're one of these 50, 60-year-old people and you're angry at your kids because now all of a sudden they got blue hair and they're out there sucking wieners somewhere and changing their gender or whatever, get over it. I mean, that just you failed. All right, you failed as a parent, as a teacher, as a grandparent, whatever. You failed, but you got to get over it and you can move forward with it. So if you're angry at somebody or friends, I know people who have been friends for 20 years, and now all of a sudden in the past year or two, one or the other or both have decided that they hate each other simply because they disagree about one or two small things. You know, when I was growing up, me and my friends, we disagreed about everything, damn near. There was, I can't think, like, maybe like video games and movies we agreed about, but most things we disagreed about, and we argued about it, and at the end of the day, we didn't give a damn. But if you're angry, if you've dropped friends, and I listen, personally, I've seen this a lot. I've had this happen to me over, this whole Israel-Palestine conflict. I've had people that I've known for a decade or more completely just say, nah, never again, never speaking to you again because of what I think, what I believe. And that's silly. That's absolutely silly. It's ignorant and silly. Okay? That's the nicest way I can put that. So if you're out here dropping friends because one of your friends likes Trump a little more than Biden, you're an idiot. Get over it. Okay? Like, figure out something better to be upset about. And if you're a child angry at your family members, if you're not going to Thanksgiving every year because your family supports Trump over Biden, shut the fuck up. Go eat some good food and deal with it. People been dealing with dumb people in their friends and family circle forever. That's part of life. It teaches you a lot that you're never going to learn if you avoid it. And same thing, if you're an old, well-to-do person and you've cut people off, you don't talk to this or that because they support Biden and you think they're ruining the country, shut up, okay? You were a kid too once upon a time. You were dumb and stupid. They'll get over it. But this whole division that we have in America has got to stop. All right? Go out into the world, make some new friends, rekindle old friendships, and heal this shit. All right? Also, anytime somebody comes at you and tries to accuse you of believing something that you don't believe, all right, you don't immediately have to take offense to that. That's actually a great moment and a great lesson for both people. One thing that I love doing is arguing with people. I can argue all day long. I love arguing. It's so ingrained in my conscience, into myself, that I don't even notice I'm doing it sometimes. It's like I do it just out of necessity. I do it out of habit. And I love arguing so much that sometimes I'll find myself arguing a point that I don't necessarily believe just because I can sort of see the angles to it. I can see, maybe they're missing something. Maybe if I argue enough with somebody, I can get them to realize, to think just one more thing and convince them, to change their viewpoint. So this is something that's good. That I think people should practice a lot more, is that when somebody comes at you and wants to argue with you about, politics, about the election, what have you, stand with it for a minute, argue with them a little bit. Do it in a nice way, don't attack nobody. I'm not saying like get physical or anything. Just state your opinion. Try, instead of screaming at somebody, try to convince them of what you think and why you think that you are correct in what you think. Because you never know. It only takes, to change the mind of one is to change the mind of many. If you have a good conversation with one person and they change their stance on something, they're going to go and have that conversation again with others. And, it's a perpetual flip. Every time somebody is going to change the mind of another, eventually others are going to get changed as well. So if you truly believe something, if you truly have a stance that you want to take, don't be afraid to take it. And now that is very different than what we see currently with social media. I don't mean just be an absolute asshole and like scream at people online and never change your mind. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you believe something and you think that you have the ability to help somebody understand that viewpoint. Whether they eventually change their mind or not, it might be better if they understand the viewpoint. But if you believe something, really, try to flesh it out. Try to figure out how to explain yourself to somebody who definitely disagrees with you. Because it's easy to explain yourself to somebody who already thinks like you. But if you can explain yourself to somebody who disagrees with you fundamentally on that topic, and you can convince them that maybe you're not even right, but maybe you're not wrong either, that is a very positive effect that we can all have on society and the world in general. We don't have to necessarily get people to agree with us, but we can also get people to understand that, hey, maybe this is not something so serious, not a battle that I truly need to fight for. Okay, so this goes for everything. This definitely goes for politics, definitely goes for religion. If you want to get philosophical about it and start arguing, murder and abortion and warfare and all that, sure, go for it. But do it nice. Do it over a couple of beers. Enjoy yourself. Have fun with it. Don't make it into like some stressful thing that your life revolves around. Don't spend all your time on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook arguing with people you're never going to meet simply to. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you got a good friend and y'all haven't hung out in a while, and that the reason they don't want to hang out with you anymore is because you support Palestine and he supports Israel or something. Go have a beer and sit down and just talk it out for a little bit. Talk about it. Maybe you come to a different conclusion. If you don't, oh well, no harm, no foul. You drink a beer. You enjoyed your time. But definitely take the effort and take the initiative to go to those around you. Like I said, your friends, your family. Go to those around you and talk about these things. Because the great thing about America is that we were granted. The first thing we were granted with was the freedom to sit around and talk about anything that we wanted to. Okay, we could talk about if we believed in God. We could talk about if Jesus was truly the Savior. We could talk about did we want to revolt against the British. These were things that we could talk about. But no one wants to talk anymore. Everybody wants to be right, and they want to demonize others for being wrong. So, yeah, take that moment. Go out, talk to a stranger. I don't care. If you don't want to talk to your family and friends, talk to a stranger. Well, that's my 2 cents for today. I'm planning on doing a bunch more videos, so I hope like I said, if you are a returning viewer from the good old days, please like and subscribe and comment and all this stuff. Share, please. That helps a lot. Every new viewer I get is somebody that might change their mind about hating the person next to them. And if I can do one thing through, talking to myself on this camera, I hope that when people hear me, they realize that we don't actually need to be so divided. We don't actually need to hate everybody. So please like and subscribe, share, do all that. Go on the Instagram and the Twitter, add me on there. Twitter and Instagram, I post hilarious shit all the time. It's mostly just dumb memes and me making fun of Europe. Everywhere I go in Europe, I always like to post some jokes about the locals. So that's always fun and dandy. I'll be back on in a couple of days with a new video. Thank you very much for listening, and until again, good evening. Peace.